Hey, Brocky.
Hey, Brocky. How are you, mate? Hope you're well in this quarantined out age we're living in. Bit of self-isolation. Anyway, this is a practice run for going live. So, hey?
There's a few.
Okay, so Cherie is holding the iPhone, and I'm going to tie one of the custom brim shrimps that I got asked to do yesterday by a local mate of mine who just slays the brim around here on this shrimp. So I've got all the gear there that we're going to be using, so it's pretty easy. It's really a pretty easy fly. I've done the boring stuff just by putting some bead chain eyes onto a size 8 hook, super glued it, locked them in place, let them set, all that sort of stuff. And then we're just going to start the build.
What are you using?
So there's a few different things that we're going to use. Yeah, hold it up. So we'll use slinky fibre in the olive. That's a really good colour for brim, especially in dark water. We're going to use hairline scud dub in olive. That's dynamite. Then we've got rubber legs from BWCflies. Well, that's where I get them from, but they're actually the Loxy branded ones, just in that in that olive barred. Easy shrimp eyes in the hot fluoro pink is one of the gun colours in our local area, so that's the trigger point. And then some crystal flash. Just this is from Tyrell. They're in the pearl, and that's just going to represent the antennas. And then just some basic equipment. I've got some wax, some scissors, a dub brush from Loon, just some Raids Up Thin just to secure it, and my torch, and me. That's it. That's how we roll. So nice and simple. So we've done that part of the fly, and you could put whatever weight that you want on there. That's entirely up to you. And how I build this shrimp is pretty much how I build most of my shrimps, because I suppose it's an easy formula to tie with, and the profile is right. And I suppose most of the guys that are fishing shrimps are fishing for brim, and it's one of those species that they're challenging. Every day is different and every session is different, but if you can get your confidence up by having a few good flies in your kit, and perhaps just some variations of that fly, then generally your success rate's going to go up. Anyway, we're just putting on the bottom of the shrimp head at the moment. Just a little clump of slinky fibre, not too much. You can see that, just a nice little trim just to taper it up. I'm going to flick that around, and then these are the easy shrimp eyes that we're going to go on. So hot fluoro pink. These are the easiest way to put eyes on your flies, without doubt. I used to be a mono melter as well. That was a long time ago. But I've been using these now for, I think, 6 years, perhaps 7. And
it's hard to focus on that little hook, hey?
Yeah, okay. And they're just too easy. So they're prefabbed on a little platform. I've just trimmed that platform just to match the size of the hook shank. You've got some ridges over the top there, so your thread just binds down. And it's literally that. You bind them on. I bend the eyes out, the eye stalks out a little bit, up and out, just to give it that sort of upward profile. And that's it. The eyes are always set in the right place. There's never a faulty one. The guys from Easy Shrimp actually hand inspect.
Hang on. It's flipped backwards at me. I don't know how to fix that.
Are we back?
Sorry, everyone.
Are we back?
We're not back yet.
I need a new camera person. Fired. You're fired.
Okay. We're back.
Okay, Sheree's just been fired.
Hey, I've just had a week at work. I'm tired.
Anybody that knows a good
Hey,
camera...
Brocky. Didn't even brush my hair yet.
I'm going to have a coffee too. Hang on a sec. How's that for brandy? Anyway, we're going to put the antennas on.
Yeah, I was trying to get it to, focus more on the fly, but I can't.
So just like that, one pair crossed over the thread, put right in between the eyes, on top of the platform, and away we go. Then we're just going to finish this head off, just with another little clump of slinky fibre. Tiny little bits, really, when you're working with brim sort of flies and saltwater flies in general, you really just want little bits of material that just help with building some translucency in the fly. So I suppose no matter what it is, whether it's a bait fish or a shrimp or whatever, all of those small food sources, they're relatively transparent, so that they can hide and blend in with their surroundings to avoid as much as possible of being eaten. Anyway, so far there's the shrimp head, if you can see that. So a bit longer on the top, a bit shorter on the bottom. Eyes positioned right at that hook bend. So there's a tip for newcomers. If you're going to use these easy shrimp eyes, and I find them to be the trigger point of the brim fly, then I want them nearest to the point as possible. And that seems to give us a pretty good success rate. Anyway, time for the next step. We're just going to put on a little ball of dubbing before we put on some rubber legs. So excuse my my touch dub wax here. It's seen a few miles, time flies. It's got a few things clinging to it that probably shouldn't be, but anyway. And then same with dubbing. So dubbing, I was fortunate enough to be taught how to dub when I was really young, by the guys at Tywell. So that's going back, I think about 30 years ago I was taught that little bits of dubbing are more impactful and more beneficial than putting large clumps of dubbing on. So you can see that. And we're just going to form a nice little ball of dubbing right there. And that's starting to form up the head. So the next step is we're going to put on some legs. We're going to get some of these out. We just want a single pair, running down each side of the fly. So we'll just cut two out. And then I position the legs, one pair on the side with a couple of wraps heading back towards that ball of dubbing. The ball of dubbing helps to flare the legs, okay? That's what it's there for. And it helps to build the profile of the fly. Then you can see what I'm doing there. I'm bringing the rubber legs, still joined as a pair, over the cross of the top of this hook shank. And then I'm just going to wrap them back towards that ball of dub. Okay? So they're all one piece. It's a very, very easy way to do it, very quick. And then I'm going to trim them to the length that I want. Now with my shrimp flies and that sort of thing, I use little markers and that on my vise, so I know that I'm trimming them at the right length to start off with, and then I'll do a final trim to make sure I'm happy with the balance of the fly and all of that sort of thing. And if you're looking pretty closely, you'll see that with the amount of thread that I'm using, there's sort of a taper happening with this body just by not pushing my thread all the way to those little bead chains. So that's going to help with your profile. If you zoom in, or if you look at where the bead chains are.
Let me try and zoom in.
Yeah, if you can.
It doesn't focus very well.
There's, I leave a nice little gap there of a couple of mils, and that just enables me to create a nice clean head of the fly, and put the wing in, like I need to put the wing in over the top of this, so it gives me a nice little space there to work with. So I suppose I get to see a lot of flies on the social feeds and that sort of thing, and there's a lot of great ones out there. You know, the talent in this country at the moment is just, it's unbelievable, really. For some of the newbies that are getting into it or just starting out in saltwater flies, or they want to do a bit of estuary work and they want to tie their own, if you put your weight in first, if you're tying weighted flies, I think it tends to help with the positioning and the proportion building of your entire fly. So a lot of people can get this part right, this back part right, and then they cluster that eye of the hook, and it can somewhat destroy the fly. It seems to imbalance it perhaps a little bit. So set your weight up first where you want it to be, and give yourself some space. That's that would be my tip for the day. Okay, so you can see that that dubbed body starting to take shape. If you're not happy with your dubbing, you can undo it a little bit, or you could dub it to fill in some gaps. So I'm using a rotational vise or rotary vise, as you can see. This one's the Dynaking Professional. I really like how it's an inline parallel vise to my tying. But everyone's going to be a little bit different and have their own unique kind of needs. But this one's tied a fair few thousand flies, and I won't say how many, but it's racking up some numbers, which is good. Anyway, now I'm just going to dub out all those little fibres to create that translucent sort of appeal, or those all those little shrimpy kind of legs. And you'll notice I'm doing that mainly from the bottom. Okay, I'm combing out the sides, combing out under the legs, and combing out right along that body. Okay, to give it, and I'm leaving the top as it is. And then to bring this one home, we're just going to put a little wing of slinky fibre over the top. Not too thick, not too dense. We're going to taper it a little bit. And just, this is a fly that we have in our kit. You know, it's one that the locals use a lot here. This olive and pink combo works really, really well in Tuggerah Lakes. It also does olive and fluoro green, and also does olive and the fluoro yellow. So the people that we fish with a bit around here, we're kind of running similar flies, but with different colour eyes. Because on the day, the eye can be the difference to a successful trip or an unsuccessful trip. And it's amazing how many times it happens that you can have one angler on pink and one angler on green, and the angler on green's getting the fish, and until they switch, then they're not really seeing too much activity. It's been proven for way too long that these are the triggers, you know. So just a little bit of a hand whip finish. You can use your whip finishing tool there. We're going to clip that thread. Take the fly out of the vise, and just make sure you don't cut your little antennas off here. Now you could taper this a little bit with your fingers as well. just little bits. It's like cutting hair. You can't put it back on once you've cut too much off. So we're just really forming up that nice little shrimpy kind of profile. Just put him back in the vise, just so I can put a little dab of resin just on those threads. So this stuff's raid zap thin. It's pretty cool. It's one of the best resins that I've ever used, to tell you the truth. And I just need a dubbing needle, which is over here. So I'm just going to reach out. I always forget one piece of equipment. So I'm just going to spread that in and around the dumbbells, cover all the thread, put a little bit over that little tuft of slinky fibre. Grab the torch and then set that in place. And then that's pretty much it, guys. I'm just going to trim the legs to make sure that I'm happy with where they're at. But the rest of the fly is complete. And if you're looking at that really closely, there's next to no wastage from tying in that method. You know, there's tiny little bit of slinky fibre laying around down here, and a few extra crystal flash fibres and dub fibres and that sort of thing. But you know, at the end of the day, that's a can you zoom in on that? That's one of our little lightweight bream shrimps. Sure. That's one of our little lightweight bream shrimps, and that fly is just a killer around here.
It's good.
Anyway, we're going to try and do some more live. While we're living in this crazy world, I know that everyone's probably doing it a bit tough. You know, as are we. It's certainly challenging. Undoubtedly, across the globe, it's challenging. So we just got to, in these times, and support each other, and it's just it's one of those things, I suppose. Like if we can, bring some more to the table and help educate you in Time Flies and show you a little bit more about how I do it, then that's what we're happy to do, So this was a practice run. Hopefully it's come across all right.
With my filming.
With Shree's filming. For position vacant, new camera person. But anyway, on the next one, we'll probably put up a little bit of an announcement that, what we're going to tie, and have a bit of a snapshot of the materials and that sort of thing that I'll be using. And it'll probably be another shrimp thing, and possibly even tonight. I think that we might do another one tonight.
Nailed it.
Maybe the raw prawn. That's a fly that that's a fly that works really, really well, and it's one that I'm proud that I've developed over the years, and I think it's time to show you guys the raw. So I'll do that.
Suggestions.
I'll do that one tonight. Yeah, and if you've got any suggestions that are in my realm of tying, shoot me a DM or something like that, and I'll see if I can incorporate it into the program. But it's got to be in my realm of tying, I suppose. Don't ask me to tie stuff that I don't have the skill to tie. So, and I'm happy to admit that I don't have the skill to tie everything, and that's just how it is. So, but anyway, thanks guys and girls, if there's any girls out there. I hope you learned something from that. While you've got some time, I encourage you to go and hit the vise, hone your skills, top up your fly boxes, get ready for when it's all gonna, before we're all allowed to get back out there and do the things that we love. So, happy Sundays. Cheers, guys.
You're on.
We're on.